I'm proud to say that Judicial Watch is trying to hold Adam Schiff to account. We filed a lawsuit just a few hours ago in federal court against Adam Schiff and the House Intelligence Committee, the Select Committee on Intelligence, over those illicit phone subpoena records that we've been talking about. We filed the lawsuit in federal court here, as I say. I'm looking for the my notes here. Yes. This is a great headline, isn't it? Judicial Watch sues Representative Schiff and the House Intelligence Committee for phone subpoenas targeting President Trump. And this is the lawsuit. This is what it looks like. It's a complaint against Schiff and the Select Committee. So we issued this, an open records request, and I may have told you about this a few weeks ago, and it's been ignored. We asked for all subpoenas issued by the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence on or about September 30th to any telecommunications provider, including but not limited to AT&T, for records of telephone calls of any individuals, and all responses received to the above referenced subpoenas. So what happened is Schiff issued these illicit subpoenas, and they are illicit. They were secretly issued, obviously. No one knew about them. Nunes was told there were phone records that were being subpoenaed, but he only saw some numbers. He didn't know what they were about, and he was in no position to object. And because he was following the rules, he kept them secret because the rules required they be kept secret. So they got the records, and one of the targets was Rudy Giuliani, the president's attorney. So they abused their authority to get into the attorney-client relationship that is privileged of the President of the United States. So on top of subpoenaing the phone records, evidently they were able to look at the records they were getting on Giuliani and this Ukrainian American who's been caught up by the Justice Department. And they started looking at who Giuliani was talking to. And evidently they backtracked the records to Jay Sekulow, Devon Nunes, a member of Congress, as I said, John Solomon, Victoria Toensing, and a host of other innocent Americans. And they published those records. So they illicitly subpoenaed the records and then published them. Mike Mukasey, who's a former Attorney General, I think under President George W. Bush, he was on TV the other day, and he suggested it could be a crime to have gotten these records. Certainly they were violative of the president's civil rights and the privacy rights of the Americans whose records were published in the Schiff fraud impeachment report, the coup report. So what Judicial Watch says, well, how do we figure out what went on here? Now, Congress typically isn't subject to the Open Records Law because the Freedom of Information Act that we use all the time isn't covering, it does not cover Congress. They're not subject to FOIA. So when you hear about the president being impeached because it's not transparent, he's not supposedly transparent enough for them, there's no law, federal law, that specifically requires them to be transparent. But there is a common law that requires them to be transparent, and that's what we sued under. The records are of critical importance as the subpoenas were issued without any lawful basis and violated the rights of numerous private citizens. Disclosure of the requested records would serve the public interest by providing information about the unlawful issuance of the subpoenas. The requested records fall within the scope of the public's right of access to government records as a matter of federal government law. And I'm going to read my quote because I sometimes forget what I say in the releases, and it's really good in this case. Adam Schiff abused his power to secretly subpoena and then publish the private phone records in potential violation of law of innocent Americans. What else is he hiding? Schiff and his committee ran roughshod over the rule of law in pursuit of the abusive impeachment of President Trump. This lawsuit serves as a reminder to the congressman, Mr. Schiff, the committee, and Congress that they are not above the law. Everyone's saying, no, President Trump's not above. They think they're above the law. And Judicial Watch's motto, by the way, our motto and our motivation is because no one is above the law. And I know you say, well, you know, Hillary Clinton's above the law. Well, they may think they're above the law, but we have to operate as a society that no one's above the law. And in the case of the President of the United States, he's not above the law, but he's not beneath the protection of the law, which is what the Schiff scheme is about. Denying the President his due process rights and invading his privacy and the privacy of anyone who dare opposes Adam Schiff. You think the phone records he has are limited to the people I've been talking about? Don't you believe it? Who knows what other phone records he has? Does he have my phone records? Does he have your phone records? Who knows? And the House isn't going to do anything about it. The Senate majority, Mitch McConnell, he's got a very different approach. He doesn't want anything to do with Schiff coming into the Senate and testifying, as we've discussed. I think there's opportunity. I think they should do that. My guess is the President would be happy to see that. So I don't know how that's going to work, but Judicial Watch doesn't rely on Congress to do the right thing or to get to the full truth. We do the heavy lifting on that because Congress often fails to do that. And I'm proud of this new Schiff lawsuit. We thought of a way to try to get accountability, a way that no one else thought of. And to the degree other people were thinking about it, they're too afraid to act. And because we have the strong support of you, the American people, we're not afraid to act.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.